The song If Not, I don't exactly remember when I wrote it. But the idea behind it is that I had always kind of struggled when people would say, God is so good to us, God has really blessed us, when good things are in their life or when good things happen to them. And I always thought, well, what about the times, even as I was growing up as a Christian or a younger Christian, what about the times that life sucks or life is terrible or you have struggled real tragedy or trauma, do you still say God is good? Do you still say that you live a blessed life? In Daniel chapter 3, there's a story about three young men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. That's not their Hebrew names, but I don't know what their Hebrew names are off the top of my head. They were taken prisoner from their home and taken to Babylon. And they were told that if they didn't bow to the statue of the king, a golden statue, that they would get thrown in the furnace and be executed. They decided that they weren't going to do that because they had a God and they loved their God, and that was a betrayal of their God. So they decided they weren't going to do that. So when the king found out, he brought them before them and said, what's the problem here? And they said, we don't need to defend ourselves to you. Our God will deliver us, but if he does not, we will still not bow. And so the if not phrase, if not, we will still not bow. That's where that comes from. And I also thought about Joseph, who went through a decade of awful things, being sold to slavery, being accused of rape when it was the woman who was in the wrong, and then got thrown in prison for 7 years because of it. And none of that was his fault. But he still praised God. He still acknowledged God. So I kind of related it to what we've been going through now. We had a pandemic and there's political uproar everywhere, and there's polarization like I've never seen before. And it's kind of difficult to see like where the Lord is in all of that. Some people have faced a lot of loss from COVID. Some people have relationships that have been horribly ripped apart. Racial issues have torn people apart, and it's very unsettling, and it's not comfortable, and it's not peaceful. But in it all, the Lord is working. In the end, he saved those three men from the furnace. In the end, Joseph forgave his brothers and had a good relationship with them, and was able to see his father again, and forgave them and overcame that. And even in hardship, I believe God is working. And if deliverance doesn't come the way that I think it should come, that is not to say that God is not a good God. If deliverance doesn't come the way that I think it should, he is still good. And that's the main premise of the song. And if you're going through anything really difficult or you doubt God's goodness, just know that there is very important work being done. There is very important growth taking place in those difficult times. And I hope that it can really uplift the people who are struggling with that.